YouTube. What's up? Hey, Latro. How you doing? If you're still here. I don't know who's here. There's 5 watching. Hello, 5 people. Well, 4 people, one including me, because I'm on YouTube too. I hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. I'll probably start the upload about 15-20 after. I'm only going to do an hour and a half. And if you want to hang around and talk afterwards, that's fine. You got to hit the road tomorrow, so I want to make sure I get some kind of rest. Then go. So I hope everybody's well and having a good day. And I hope you guys have a good Sunday. If you don't stick around, that's fine too. I know there's other people streaming. But yeah, tonight's going to be a Black Eyed Kid Halloween one that she did 2 years ago. Actually, I was sitting in the house when she did that video. I was there for the book signing for Fae. Sitting there with a snoring dog. Our dog. At night he follows during the day he follows Pops around, and at night he follows his master around. He's upstairs with him now. He's not been a good dog. He's been gnawing on his tail. He got it cleaned off, and we're a little worried. So he goes to the vet pretty soon. We think he does it when we're gone. He's never been like that before, so we don't. But then again, he's also been tagged by a skunk 4 times now, so. He tries to make friends with, chases a squirrel and buddies up to the skunks. I just don't get it. So everybody hanging good today? I see we're at 6. Yeah, I'll start it here a little earlier than I usually do. I usually wait till like 12:30, but I'm going to probably start at about 15-20 after. And then I think this video is... How long is this video? 33 minutes. So heading to Bend, Texas tomorrow for the first time. Oh, fun. So what's Texas like? Hold on. I do this every time I mess with YouTube. There we go. What's Texas like? Everybody gives me here I go again, jerking around. It does this when I mess with the YouTube. There we go. We're back to I don't know why it does that. More rural area, about 70 miles north of. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, I haven't been out into like any deserts or anything, or kind of open plains area. Kansas, but that's nothing but flat land and wheat and corn and a little bit of everything. I thought Kansas was so boring driving through Kansas. But yeah. I hope, like I said, I hope everybody that's joining me tonight's doing good this weekend. Hope you've enjoyed your Friday yesterday with Gemma. Well, I should say, yeah. Well, I guess officially it's Sunday, so I haven't done a lot of tourist driving because I get. Oh, okay. Yeah, the only time I won't fly unless I have to. I'd rather drive. But I'm a driving guy. Well, it's because I don't sit too still. That way, if I have to stop and bounce around for a while, I can do that. And I can't do that in a plane. They found that out the hard way. So, yeah. Me and planes, I don't mind it. It's more the other passengers. Why is that guy going 90 miles an hour in his seat? King Ranch F-150 Turbo Ranch. Okay, cool. Turbo tomorrow. There you go. Well, lost, but that's fine. F-150. It's a truck, right? You got a big old truck? I'm not a car person. You have to talk to my dad. It's pretty sad. He had 4 boys, and not one of us is a mechanic. Now, I can a screen press down. I can tear that sucker down and put it back together with my eyes closed. I can't in the car. Bless his heart, he still has to stand over me. I can get that. hold the flashlight. I'll do it myself. Yeah, he gave me kind of, that's why I was in and out last night, kind of preoccupied. He's been a little shaky on his feet, so I have to kind of listen to him because son upstairs sometimes plays games and has his headset on, so he doesn't hear him. So I have to kind of listen for him, and he's been kind of wobbly lately, so that's why he kept seeing me disappear. Yes, Friday night was because I was checking on him. Plus, my nose was running again. It's allergy season. Oh, this is where a friend saw a Bigfoot last weekend. Oh, cool. Hey, there you go. Maybe you'll get lucky. Make sure you take good, clear pictures. And make sure they don't look fake. People are picky nowadays, and I can see why. You have your phone for your camera? Yeah, I have camera phone. I have both. I have phone camera, which is not the best for an Apple, but it's an older one now. I didn't get anything fancy. I don't need anything fancy. But I have where'd he go? I have a little handheld too. So we're supposed to go down tomorrow. We're supposed to go down. We were supposed to do it Wednesday, but he wasn't up to it. So we may go down tomorrow if he's up to it and check out this bridge where a girl and a baby died in Chillicothe. Passed, I should say, deceased. I got to watch what I say with YouTube. Oft, I don't know how it would be, unalived. And he knows exactly where it's at because it's not too far from where he grew up. Saw a video and I'm going, Dad, check this place out. It's in Chillicothe. And he's like, I know where that's at. Because that's not far from where I live. In fact, it's on the way to my grandparents' house. So we can go down and check it out. I probably won't keep him down there long since he's a little shaky, but go down and get him out of the house for a while. I was trying to Wednesday, bless his heart, he just wasn't up to it. And he wasn't up to it today, so we were going to do it today. He just wasn't up to it. So I just went to the store. So the store's a nightmare. Either going to the store now is just a nightmare. But yeah, let's see here. Make sure I get everything ready to go. In about a couple minutes here, I'll start the upload. I'm losing people fast because I must be boring because I'm not talking scary stuff. I don't know. Oh well. But yeah, I am going to start it here in a minute. I'm going to start a little earlier than normal because a lot of people also come in here and expect to see Gemma, and she don't do nights, so it's just me doing replays. Hey, New England. How you doing, dude? Thanks for coming in and saying hello. Yeah, I know it's late for you. So go ahead, get some rest, my friend. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a very bad one, though. No, the winds are still pretty tame. Well, any hurricane's not a good hurricane, but you know what I'm saying. We'll see what happens over in the next 24 hours. Actually, there's two of them down there screwing around. The other one, I think, if it would really group up, would be a lot worse. And that's if it can make it to that little gulf there. Those warm waters. It all depends on how much dry air and I call it uppercut, you know. But if there's a lot of dry air, it won't do it. It might fuel. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the one I noticed, they come back 5 hours later. Hey man, this thing is becoming something. It's not even barely considered like a one hurricane. It's still in that cross phase between tropical storm. So yeah, we'll see what happens with those. God bless them down there. They don't need any more. That's for sure. But that one that's just developing right now, they think it will ricochet and go back out toward. Yeah, I believe they are. I think I always get those screwed up. So I think we'll be okay. God bless them. They don't need any more crap down there, that's for sure. You know, so you don't hear a lot. I don't have TikTok or anything, so I don't know how many videos about there of people coming home and finding alligators and snakes and everything else roaming around the house. I've seen a couple. So that's what would bother me. And that water. Anytime you get back up and wash like that, man, that water, anytime you flood like that, you don't want to be in that water if you don't have to. I know people do it anyways, but you better go home and shower like 50 times because it's unhealthy. That's when you always see about a week after, 2 weeks after, there's like a mad break of flu and stuff from all the crap in the water. What time we got here? Here, let's go ahead and start this sucker. I want to say, everybody that's watching, I'm down to 3 people. Oh, geez. I guess I'm not a good conversationalist tonight. Anyways, I don't even know who's still here. I know Latra might be still here. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and start this sucker. And as you come in, enjoy. And let's get this baby rolling. And once again, it's it's Black Eyed Kid encounters that happen during Halloween. And then as we get closer to Halloween, I don't know if I'm going to stream that Wednesday night, because Wednesday night's Beggars Night. And I know a bunch of other people are streaming that. I'm not going to compete. We'll have to see how it goes. But up until on Gemma's replay, which is this weekend, and next weekend, I'll do 2 of her Halloweens. This was 2 years ago, and I was actually there. I was in the living room. You'll see a couple of cuts at the beginning, I think, where she had to stop because me and her mom got to yapping. So here we go. Let me make sure it's all ready to rock and roll here. Whoa, come back, come back. I hate when it does that. Okay, let me get this on the screen here and get it set up. She looks good in this video too because she's got her glasses on. Yeah. Go share. Let me move myself here for a minute. Let me switch back to my other screen and switch me down to the bottom here. Here we go, everybody. Make sure you let me know you can hear this all right and enjoy the vid. And I'll just sit in the background, say hello to people as they come in. Okay, let's do this. Oops, not the right one. Come on.
Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is GemmaJadeYT.
I hope everybody can hear that all right.
We are going to be discussing creepy encounters with the BEK on or near Halloween. Now, this was supposed to be my Halloween video, but it didn't quite work out. When you're going through a separation from someone you've been with for 8 years, it's a lot. I did get my background today. I'm starting to get a lot more of my stuff brought here to the new house. So keep being patient with me. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll get it all figured out. Regardless of what otherworldly and paranormal phenomenon we are discussing, there is no doubt that in the month of October especially, everything takes on an even more dark and sinister form. It's the thinning of the veil all month long until by the 31st, or on Halloween, Samhain, it's non-existent for 24 hours. Not many people know, though, that in the beginning of November, there is just as much thinning to and of it. What I mean is the veil thins slowly and steadily throughout the month. So why does everyone just assume it snaps closed all at once on November 1st? It doesn't. It takes time, guys. The BEK are a fascinating topic of discussion, especially for this time of year, because no one has ever claimed yet to know for sure what they are, where they come from, or what it is that they want. It's a complete and total mystery, as are so many things we discuss here on this channel. With this being one of the few things I know of that I haven't ever experienced, and trust me, I want to keep it that way, but I'll be writing that book next, so I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted on whether or not I have an encounter. It fascinates me all the more and drives me to almost incessantly research them. I've come to understand that, for whatever reason, they seem to be very active on Halloween night and in the days before and after. And in fact, I found several people who have claimed to have encountered them on October 31st specifically, or again, within a few days. Could that be nothing more than mere coincidence? Well, you guys know what my answer is going to be on that one. So in case you haven't seen any of my other videos and have absolutely no idea what the BEK are, aside from leaving links to those videos in the description box for your viewing pleasure, let's just discuss very briefly an overview of what exactly we're dealing with here and some of what we know so far, which honestly, talking about what we know definitively isn't much at all. The BEK are generally entities who appear to range between the ages of 5 and 17. There have been some alleged encounters with black-eyed adults, but those are very iffy in my opinion, and I want to focus on the creepy kids for now. So from far away or in the dark, these kids appear to be somewhat normal, despite some pretty obvious things that stick out as weird or just wrong somehow. Once you're able to get a closer look, for example, when you go against every natural and primal instinct you are already having from behind your closed door and open it, they have abnormally pale skin. They are usually dressed one of two ways, either in the fashion of the times or in clothing that is completely, and again, quite obviously, outdated. Also, regardless of what time period their clothing is from, it's almost always very much like raggedy, in rags. The hoodies are torn and the jeans tattered with holes in the shoes and things like that. They look like a bunch of sickly, pale little ragamuffins. Sometimes there will be a group of them, but this usually only happens when they're encountered like in a parking lot or on the side of the road somewhere. When they come to your front door, there aren't usually more than 3, almost always 2, and every once in a while there will be one lone child there. Eventually, the witness will notice the all black eyes. Completely black and commonly described as, quote, as black as an abyss, end quote, and, quote, soulless, end quote. While their behavior varies very much, there are some common themes to the encounters. They seem to appear out of thin air and approach vehicles you're in and knock on the windows. If they come to your front door, they always knock as though they have no idea what a doorbell is. Also, it's not uncommon for them to start knocking and banging on the windows if you refuse the request, which is always that they be invited or allowed to enter your home or aforementioned vehicle. They will ask for a ride in those cases, and when you refuse, you will be terrified to your very soul and know somewhere and somehow deep inside the core of your being that something is wrong. They will become angry, they will become aggressive. One will undoubtedly be the spokesperson while the others awkwardly stand there and don't say anything. Aside from, of course, the telepathic communication that obviously is taking place between them during the entire exchange with you. If it's your residence they come knocking at, they will claim to have had some kind of emergency. Either they're freezing and need to keep warm until their parents come, or the younger of the two will have a potty emergency if you don't let him or her in to use your toilet. So basically, my little brother really needs to use your toilet, sir. Please, it's an emergency. Another of their ruses is to ask if they can use your phone to call their parents. They will claim all manner of reasons for needing to do this. It's usually about this point when the witness will start to feel an overwhelming sense of fear and dread, more so than the inevitable feelings of terror and doom they feel before the child even approaches their home. It's like you can feel them coming. I've seen witnesses discuss just laying on the couch watching television, and all of a sudden they're like, the hair on the back of their neck standing up, they feel sick to their stomach somehow, and then they get a knock at the door. That's their body telling them that the energy around them is wrong. These kids are wrong. So there is a sense of evil and menace that emanates from them, and most human beings only feel this instinctually and don't understand why the very sight of some kids is making them feel this way. There is an overwhelming urge to slam the door in their faces and run and hide somewhere far away from the door. It seems as though, and there have been encounters where one of the BEK have stated this as a fact, they cannot come into your car or home or personal space without an invitation. There have only been a few reports of people who have let them in, and I'm skeptical of all but one, and I've already covered that one in another video. So lock up your doors and windows and go hide in your closet until sunrise, folks, because today we are going to hear some encounters with the black-eyed kids that have been had on, near, or around Halloween. Let's jump right in. There is always this notion that the stories of these quote-unquote children started happening in the late 1990s with the release of Brian Bethel's Encounter. He was in a parking lot in Abilene, Texas when he had his chilling experience, and being an investigative journalist, he went to the internet when it was still brand new and brought the encounter to the World Wide Web. However, if we look back far enough, we will see that encounters with these entities probably go all the way back to the beginning of time. There is also the false assumption made that they are nothing more than a mere urban legend. However, that isn't true because an urban legend is a story that happened to someone somewhere, and there are no witnesses ever to the event except your uncle's, nephew's, brother's, cousin's friend. There are more witnesses to this phenomenon than one can count, and many are available to give interviews. Maybe they're more like folklore, but I prefer to call things as I see them, and they are an unknown, lower vibrational, possibly pure evil and even demonic or even extraterrestrial entity that scare the crap out of us and that we basically know nothing at all about. At least nothing that can be proven or definitive anyway. Our first encounter takes place a day or two before Halloween and comes from Portland, Oregon in the United States. A man said that his neighbor hadn't put out any decorations, and usually his house had the most of anyone in their entire neighborhood. Since Halloween was a day or two away, our witness claims he jokingly told the neighbor he had better get a move on putting up his decorations or he wouldn't be finished by Halloween night. The neighbor looked at him with an absolute look of horror on his face and, in a somewhat conspiratorial whisper, replied that he would not only be keeping his house dark that Halloween, but also that he was never decorating or celebrating Halloween ever again. He attributed this to something terrifying that he claimed happened to him the year before on Halloween night. When our witness asked him what had happened, his neighbor explained to him that the previous year on Halloween night, he had heard a knock at his door. Though it was much later than usual and the kids were banging on the door instead of ringing the doorbell, he decided that since he hadn't turned off his lights yet, he would go and answer the door and make these his last trick-or-treaters of the night. He just assumed, and rightfully so, that that's who it was doing the knocking. When he opened the door, however, he saw that there were two kids just standing there, staring at the ground, not wearing any sort of costume that he could make out. He claimed the neighbor said the kids' eyes were, quote, as black as obsidian, end quote. Our witness goes on to explain, quote, he said one was probably around 13 to 14 and the other around 16 to 17, both boys. They weren't dressed up, but he remembers the older one was wearing a flannel checkered shirt. He was immediately overcome with uneasiness, like opening the door was a huge mistake. They just stared at him and he noticed they had really big irises and dilated pupils. He couldn't even see the whites of their eyes, so he figured they were contact lenses. He was frozen there holding the candy bowl like he couldn't slam the door in their face as much as he wanted to. So he nervously tried to smile at them, hoping they would quote unquote break character and ask for candy or something. The younger one said they had gotten lost and needed to come in and use his phone. That was when he closed the door more than halfway on them and said, no, sorry. And the older one said something like, can we just wait in your house till our parents come and get us? But by then he was convinced that his life was in danger and that these kids must be high on something or intending to rob him. So he just kept mumbling under his breath, no, sorry, good night, as he inched the door closed and finally locked it. He told me he was so effing scared at that point that they were going to try to break through one of the windows or something, but he looked through the peephole and they had turned to leave. He watched TV with his volume really low for the rest of the night so he could hear any sounds at all, and he said he stayed up till like 5 a.m. because he was too scared to go to bed and to drop his guard. The whole time he's telling me this, I'm thinking, oh my God, this sounds so familiar, just like the Black-Eyed Kids urban legend. Then I thought, hey, maybe this dude is trying to scare me because after all, he does have the Halloween spirit. So I'm looking at him incredulously, but trying not to seem too gullible. So I'm like, man, that is really crazy. Sounds like the Black-Eyed Kids. He just looked at me blankly. The what? Is that a movie or something? I said no, but told him to go and look it up online. Like an hour later, I get a knock on my door and admittedly almost jump out of my skin thinking it's one of these demon children. It was my neighbor and his eyes were freaking huge. He swears to me up and down that he had never heard of the BEK before and it's so similar to what had happened to him. So we talked a while longer and I told him that quite a few people probably know about the urban legend and it's possible it was just teenagers with black scleral contacts trying to freak people out on Halloween, which would be genius, by the way. But he said the fear he felt was so primal and came over him the second he opened the door for them. Anyways, guys, beware, I guess. Halloween would definitely be the perfect cover for them, end quote. What an absolutely an alarming, terrifying thought. The Black-Eyed Kids hiding under the perfect cover of Halloween, using our very own traditions and fun times against us. I noticed the man who actually encountered them didn't feel any of the normal foreboding before opening the door, and in fact, he did so without so much as a second thought. Could this be because it was Halloween? And I mean, on Halloween, we're always, even if in some small way, looking for a good scare. I don't know. Another person from Reddit claims that she also had an encounter with the BEK on Halloween night. Our witness claimed to have never even heard of this phenomenon before she witnessed them firsthand. She reported having noticed how slow the night was as far as trick-or-treaters were concerned. According to her, her doorbell almost never stopped ringing in all of the years she had lived in this particular residence on Halloween night. Her husband went to go and take a shower at around 10 p.m. and she then took her dog, Chloe, out into the front yard. As she was getting ready to do this, though, she heard a knock at her front door. She immediately thought this was strange because they had a doorbell, and she knew it worked because it had been ringing when the last trick-or-treaters had come throughout the evening on the same night. She, too, just as the guy in our last encounter did, thought it was just kids who were out a bit late and who didn't want the fun of the night to end. However, she saw her dog behaving very strangely right as a feeling of dread and terror slowly crept into her. It was out of character for either one of those dogs not to be barking and jumping and wagging their tails at the door, regardless of if someone had knocked or if someone had rang the bell. They were dogs, and they were friendly, and they loved when company was over. However, they were now cowering in one corner of the room and almost moaning as though they were in some sort of physical pain and or overcome by fear. She looked out the peephole of her front door and saw a dark outline of two young children. The only light at this point was her porch light, so she couldn't make out much more than that. The only light at this point was her porch light, so she couldn't make out much beyond that. It didn't escape her notice that the kids were simply wearing regular clothes instead of Halloween costumes, and this elicited a fear and dread in her that made no sense to her. She also considered they were seemingly very young to have been out so late and all by themselves, regardless of if it was Halloween or not. The girls seemed to be around 11 or 12 years old, and the boys seemed younger, like around 8 or 9, she said. She stated of the encounter, quote, "The girl very politely spoke up. 'Ma'am, can we please come inside and use your phone to call our mom?' As she spoke, something in the pit of my stomach was telling me something was wrong. What kid, even at that age, doesn't have a cell phone of their own these days? I couldn't remember the last time I had anyone ask to use my home phone. Hun, don't you have a phone of your own you can call your mom on?" I asked. This was when things got really weird. Both kids turned to look at one another like they were going to say something to one another, but neither spoke. They both turned back to me and the girl said, "Ma'am, my cell phone battery doesn't have any of its charge left in it. Can we please come inside and call our mother? We're alone out here and my brother's scared." I have to admit, there were two competing feelings going on inside of me. The first, that of a mother's heart that wanted to help these two small children get to their mom. The other, a sinking fear in my gut that was keeping the other feeling at bay. It was then I noticed that during the short conversation, I'd already opened the door a few extra inches, which I was completely unaware of doing. I stopped. "Honey, why don't you give me your mother's number and I'll go call her for you myself." Another pause and they again looked at one another. After a short moment, they turned back to me and the girl said, "Ma'am, my little brother has to use your bathroom. Can we please come inside while you call our mom yourself?" And with that last statement, the little girl moved closer to the door like she was just going to walk on in right past me. As she did, she stepped into the light coming from inside the house, and I got my first real good look at her. Solid, jet black eyes. That's all I could see. I could feel every hair on my arms and back of my neck standing at attention. I closed the door to where just my face was able to stick out. The little girl stopped and again pleaded, "Please, ma'am, we're both really scared and alone out here. We have to come inside. Please help us." Then, almost as if it was on cue, both kids began to whimper and cry. That's when fear completely took over and I shut and locked the door. "I'll call your mom if you give me the number," I shouted through the door, "but I'm not letting you into my house." I could still see them standing there on the porch, just staring at me through the beveled glass pane. Part of me wanted to run upstairs to my husband, but the bigger part didn't want to lose track of where they were. That would have freaked me out even more to not know where they were. After what seemed like forever, but probably was only a few seconds, I decided I'd call my neighbor that lives across the street. As I made my way to the side table by our couch to my phone, I glanced at the back door. Chloe was nowhere to be found. We later found her in the guest room under the bed. When I got to my phone and started to look for his contact info, it was only then the kids stepped away from the door and began to walk to the street. As they did, I walked to the door to get a better look to see where they went, still not calling my neighbor. If you get close enough to the glass, you can see out enough to make out people's shapes, but not much detail. Of course, standing that close to the door would make you pretty obvious to anyone outside looking in. From the door, I could see that the kids were still standing under the street lamp nearest my house, staring at me. As I lifted the phone to my ear after calling, only then did the kids start walking down our street. I met my neighbor under the lamp once he was out there, but the kids were nowhere to be seen. End quote. Okay, what the French toast, guys? I don't know. Sounds creepy, and it also sounds like nobody else in the neighborhood got a visit from them, right? I mean, the neighbor didn't even see them. So this is another kind of thing that always seems to happen with them, where the minute you take your eyes off them, if they're not creepily staring at you from somewhere on your property, they're gone. Our next encounter is from a young man who said it was just a day or two before Halloween when he decided to walk 3 blocks to the corner store to grab something. A completely boring, ordinary, and somewhat mundane event. He said of what happened next, quote, "During my walk, I see the normal, the occasional person putting up Halloween decorations and kids playing in their yards. But this story is about something far more sinister. I remember seeing 2 teens about age 14 knocking on a door asking to use the phone, which of course I thought was weird because most teens these days have their own phones. As I kept walking, they stopped and stared at me for a short moment. I felt the blood in my veins chill. I felt so creeped out, I hurried to the next block. The next block seemed fine until I looked behind me and saw the 2 teens seem to be following me. I took off sprinting to the store at this point. I saw the sign for the store and relief washed over me. I opened the door and I told the cashier about what had happened on the way there. He looked at me slightly creeped out and told me a story about this happening to him in his hometown and how they found him the day he left and asked for his help in an emotionless voice, and he told me to never agree to help these kids. He told me another story, but at that point I was no longer paying attention because those kids were standing at the door asking to be let in. The cashier freaked out and locked the door. The teens never seemed to waver or leave. They wouldn't step away from the door. Then it had been an hour. The cashier and I were ready to fight our way out, but instead he took me out the back. The one teen came around the back just as the door shut behind us. "Can you help me?" is all he could say. He was closing in on us, and his eyes. They were black as a starless night. They were peering right into my soul. I couldn't help but gaze into his eyes. The terror. I can't remember too much of what happened next, but I do recall the sounds of struggle. When I came to, the cashier was struggling with both teens. He was calling out to me for help. I ran towards them, grabbed him by the collar, and pulled him between the 2, knocking them over in the process. I didn't look back until I was near my house. The cashier was gone, but the teens were still following behind. I ran into my house, closed all the blinds, and I turned the music up. I got lucky that day, but I'm not sure how long I can keep out of their grasp. I tried to find and thank the cashier for saving my life that day, but he didn't show up to work after that. I asked his boss, and he told me he called over the phone and quit. He said he was moving. To this very day, I sometimes feel the fear of those eyes watching me as I drive to work. I sometimes will look out my window and I swear I see them watching my house from a couple of blocks away, waiting for their next chance, end quote. So if you can't already tell, I had a hard time with this one. I really did. All right. This one just seems like, I don't know, it seems like a lot. And from what I can see in the comments below it in my source material, most people, not just me, are questioning the validity of this one. First of all, how are you seeing them from your door if they're a couple of blocks away? It's just very over dramatic. Like, the BEK don't normally follow people. Is it impossible and unheard of? No, but it's so unusual. And I tried to look for other encounters where it's alleged that this happened, and I really couldn't find any. I think I found one other one, and that one I didn't believe them either because they said they got into a knife fight with a BEK. But these are the encounters, guys, and I'm not trying to change your minds. It's up to you if you believe them or not. I'm in no position to be calling anyone a liar or questioning the authenticity of an event that they claimed happened to them that was absolutely bone-chilling. There's always a chance the person is telling the truth, and having to be called a liar and ridiculed all over the internet probably wouldn't make things much easier or better for him if all of this really did happen to him as he claimed it happened. I would rather just believe and keep it in the back of my mind that if this account is to be believed, they're becoming much bolder about their approach with us being human beings. So let's just assume that this is true. Then they're definitely becoming bolder if they're following us, right? More brazen, which is something I talked about with the Fae, with the Glimmer Man, and with several other entities that I feel like they're coming more to the surface, so to speak, in our more modern years. I would say the past 10 years, but especially like the past 2 years. It seems almost like the pandemic. Since the pandemic, they're coming out of the woodwork, literally. Our final Halloween account is another one I saw on Reddit, and it also happened right before Halloween. In the middle of the night, one night, right before Halloween, our witness said she was awoken in the middle of the night to her dog, Lucy, incessantly and rather aggressively barking. So that's a general and common theme here too, that your pets, dogs and cats specifically, will go absolutely manic and crazy when they even sense that these entities or these children are near. At first, she didn't think too much of it, as this wouldn't be the first time Lucy had done this in the middle of the night. Side note real quick, guys, if your dog is behaving this way either once or even worse on a semi-regular basis, you may want to not ignore it, as remember, animals can see and hear and sense and smell things that we cannot. I would take this as a warning. Always be on the safe side, better safe than sorry, and at least get up to investigate. Personally, I would rather be wrong about it and have to get up out of bed than have my dog being possibly tormented by something in the night that I can't see or protect it from. But that's just me, and I'm a cat owner with no dog, so I don't know. Just a thought. Anyways, after several minutes of the barking, though, our witness claims she got up and out of bed to see what in the world all of the fuss was about and to try and figure out what had her normally quiet and gentle dog behaving in this manner. Even though Lucy had done this before, it had never gone on for this long, and she was now starting to think maybe there was an intruder or something else sinister lurking in or around her home. She quickly noticed that the dog was at the front door barking like this at it, and she almost mechanically went to unlock the deadbolt so she could open the door and show the dog there was nothing there. As soon as her hand touched the lock, the dog flipped out. Lucy launched herself at our witness and then ran into a corner of the room to cower in fear. Almost immediately and seemingly out of nowhere, Lucy lunged at her. She was overcome with a sudden and inexplicable fear unlike anything she had ever felt before, being our witness. It was almost incapacitating. Her heart was racing and her knees were suddenly weak. She was sweating and shaking instead of what happened next. Quote, I looked through the peephole. I can't explain why I looked, but I did. Outside were two kids. One was just a smidgen shorter than me and didn't look much younger. I'm 21 and she looked to be 16 or 17. She was slender and super pale. Her hair was a light shade of honey blonde, and she wore it long, about mid-back, with long, thin, blunt bangs in the front that covered most of her eyes. She wore jeans, a light wash that's popular right now, and a thin-looking olive-covered pullover-style hoodie. She held the hand of a small girl who looked to be around 3 or 4 in the same style jeans and button-down ivory cardigan. It's very specific on the clothing there. The smaller one looked at the floor shyly, but had that same shade of hair tied back in a ponytail. She held a stuffed toy under her free arm, and it was identical to one my daughter has, as was their style of dress. Had it not been for the feeling of overwhelming dread and fear, I probably would have asked these children in and giving them some tea or hot chocolate to get them out of the bitter cold. But something about them seemed off. At this point, I hadn't made any noise. I hadn't shushed the dog or grumbled, nothing. I hadn't turned on any lights. These kids had no indicators I was at the door. The older one spoke. She had a voice that was mature, confident, strong, and accentless. She held her head tilted downward and I couldn't see her eyes. She said, we have to use your phone. I stood frozen in fear. How did she know I was there? She raised her head to face me directly, and that was when I saw her eyes. There was a reason I couldn't see them through her bangs before. They were black or midnight blue or dark, dark purple. They were otherworldly. She said, our mother is worried. As someone who's always been interested in creepy stories, I knew what she was the second she looked at me through the door. I've never been one to believe in these things. As a staunch atheist and skeptic when it comes to the paranormal, I had written off many a ghost story from friends and family members eager to tell their tales. I didn't believe them. Still, I couldn't rationalize my way out of this. I was standing with nothing but a thin wooden door between me and a black-eyed kid. There was no questioning what was right in front of me. I did not answer her. Slowly and silently, I backed away from the door, Lucy still cowering at my ankles. She just kept right on talking. Just let us in to use your phone. I took another step back, and with that step, the tone changed. At first, she seemed polite. When I took that second step back, she became commanding, almost hostile. We're not going to hurt you. If we wanted to do that, we would have broken in. So I'll ask again, may we come in and use your phone? Lucy snarled at the door and I inched backward, though something inside of me seemed to be slowly pulling me back toward the door. It wasn't a physical pulling so much as a subconscious need to go back and need to let them in. I got to my room, covered up the window, locked the door, and sat there in the dim light of the nightlight. I heard her call me back to the door once more, and then quiet. I didn't go back to sleep that night, and I haven't slept right since. I know from reading about them that BEKs can't just come in without permission. I know they haven't hurt anyone, but I still fear I'll be the exception. When I told my husband, he said it was just a dream. He keeps telling me to forget it, but this lingering feeling of sadness, this dread when the house is silent at night, this fear of a knock at the door, this tells me otherwise, end quote. I want to talk about the fact that she said that we know they haven't hurt anybody. We don't know that. Because if they had hurt someone, maybe they hurt that person to the point where they can't tell their story. Like I said, I'm skeptical of all of the encounters where they're said to have been let in. The older couple that gave them hot chocolate and then the guy's nose was bleeding. I don't believe that encounter. I know it's the most widely accepted one for someone who's let the BEK in, but I'm not a believer of that one. Could have happened. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I don't really put much stock into it. I believe the one with the mother who ran into the grocery store, came back out, and BEK was sitting next to her son inside their truck. And that's in one of my other videos, I think part 2, but I will link all of them down below. So what exactly are these entities, guys, and what do they want? Where do they come from, and how do they get here? These are the questions that have been pondered for as long as they have been being seen, and even more so since Brian Bethel's account took the internet by in 1999. They are many different things to many different people. The theories that come up most often are that they are demons, ghosts, hybrids, extraterrestrials, the children of the men in black and women in black, vampires, visitors from another dimension or alternate reality, and many, many more, again, depending on who you're asking. What I do know, and I said the same thing about shadow beings, is I dread to even know what sort of realm or dimension is overrun by these particular creatures, entities, beings, etc. I am from the alien hybrid school for the most part. Are they lost souls or some other thing we can't even begin to wrap our human minds around, let alone come to understand in any way, shape, or form? Whatever they are, they don't seem to be going anywhere, and the legends and rumors about them seem to increase as the years go by. At first, it seemed like a very American phenomenon, at least on the surface. However, if you dig just a little bit deeper, you'll quickly come to find that that isn't true at all, and not by a long shot either. I don't posit the question, as most people I come across do, as if, are they real or not, right? I know that they're real. I just know it to be true. There are too many encounters from all over the world of the exact same thing, and many from so long before the internet existed, it can't be some sort of giant coincidence. So what do you guys think? As always, let me know in the comments below. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed hanging out with me, if you enjoyed the content, and if you just want to see me smile. Spread the love by sharing this video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Really want to get that sub count up, guys. So in the description box, you will find links to the other BEK videos I did, including Steve Stockton's BEK encounter, which I think he just covered himself on either Missing Persons Mysteries or 13 Past Midnight. But I was the first one to cover it. He gave me his permission. I will link all of them again in the description box below. If you'd like to make a donation to the channel, always appreciated. PayPal, Cash App. If you join my Patreon for $20 a month or more, you will be put on my list. I give automatic, full, remote, personal, intuitive oracle readings to all of my patrons who donate $20 or more every single month, okay? Join me and Ghostdragonzw every Wednesday night from 7:15 to 11:15, 11:30-ish p.m. Eastern Time for live intuitive oracle. You come on into the stream, I pull one card, and I give you a weekly reading off that card for donation only. It's a really great time. It's lots of fun. Sometimes we go over 4 hours. It really depends how many people come in. Also, if you'd like to purchase my books, Missing the Fae Theory and Encounters with Evil, 101 True and Terrifying Stories, the links for those on Amazon, paperback, and Kindle will be in the description box. If you would like signed copies, please hit me up. GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. I had my book signing last week. It was a great success, but I do have some leftover books that I'm trying to get rid of. So hit me up if you want that autographed copy. And for any and all other correspondence, if you have any encounters with the supernatural, paranormal, otherworldly, extraterrestrial, etc., also email those to me for listener encounters. I know a lot of you have, and I haven't gotten back to you. I've been going through a lot, but I plan maybe in a day or two, probably by the time this comes out, I am going to be throwing myself full-blown back into work, so you don't have to worry about me not responding to your emails. I just needed a few weeks to kind of figure things out, and I know you guys understand that. Also, my second magazine article from Paranormal Press Magazine did come out. I still have not received the copy. I received it, but I haven't gotten it from the other house yet. So if you would like a copy of it, hit me up. A signed copy, I can get one of those for you. If you'd like a signed copy of the last year's edition, I have that as well. I'm hoping to have the physical copies so I can show them to you very, very soon, guys. Just continue to be patient with me. Like I said, a lot going on. I'm just waiting for all my stuff to arrive so I can set up my office. If you would like a personal intuitive oracle reading from me, either remote or face-to-face through FaceTime, please also email me. Again, that's GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. Also, I plan on, as soon as I get my inventory back, opening back up Gemma Jade Oracles and pushing the website. I had to shut it down because right now I have no access to my stuff. Should be about another week or two, so not too much longer before I can start sending out those spiritual helper boxes, the protection sprays, the self-empowerment sprays, the homemade essential oil feel-good sprays, right? The crystal boxes, all of that stuff I'm trying to do to guide and help you guys spiritually. As soon as I get it all moved to this house, we will be right back on track, and it's not going to be that much longer. I really need to grow this channel and my business, guys. It's super duper important now more than ever. So anything that you guys can do to help push the videos out, recommend the channel. Don't forget, on November 6th, which is Sunday, I will be on the show Disembodied Voices on the Paraflix network. Now, if you don't want to join for a monthly with Paraflix because it is a little expensive, go on in to whatever you use to stream and get the free trial. They give a 3-day or a 7-day free trial. I think it's 3 days. Get that on the 5th, on Saturday, so that you can watch my episode of Disembodied Voices on the 6th and then dump it. Not being mean. It's just a lot for a brand new network. Like, it's more than Netflix and it's brand new. So Paraflix Network, the show Disembodied Voices, season 3, Sunday, November 6th, you guys will see me there. I will try to put the times in the description box, or I will do a reminder video on Saturday because I really want you guys to check that out. I hope with bigger ratings, my name can be pushed out more and I can start doing more things like TV shows, interviews, other people's podcasts. If you guys know anyone that would love to interview a best-selling author or a physical medium or someone who reads Oracle, if you guys know anyone that wants their Oracle read, please let me know. And again, as soon as I have access to the inventory, get the business back up, and we'll be able to put the website up, because I wasn't able to do that because of everything that happened. Be kind to each other, guys. It doesn't cost anything. Be kind to yourselves and never accept anything less than others being kind to you. If nobody told you today, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're worth it, you can do it. You are just an absolutely spectacular person. You're beautiful inside and out. And anyone who doesn't see that and tell you that on a regular basis probably shouldn't be in your orbit. Always go in grace, smile at a stranger, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Hey, Hilton, how you doing, sir? How's that world down under there? You're still under me, so I'm going to say it anyways. Lobster, yeah, sounds good. I haven't had a lobster in a long time. I don't know if I'd eat anything around here. Red lobster is not what it used to be. That's about it. I guess you could get a real one. See if Edna ever sends me any crab cakes. So I keep giving her. I haven't given her a hard time about it lately. But yes, Sassy, you asked a question about what would happen if somebody. There is an encounter. A lot of people are still trying to figure out if it's true or not. Some people say it is, but an elderly blackout kids knocked on an elderly couple's door. They were probably a little about my age, a little younger, in their 50s, 60s. And she was worried about the kids. She didn't really pay attention to their eyes, and she let them in. Well, they kind of hung around for a while. I think they even tried to feed them, and they wouldn't eat. And she said they acted kind of weird, and the animals in the house, I think they had a cat and a dog that kind of hid the whole time. Well, for some reasons, the kids left. And after they left, the husband got real sick. I mean, real sick. He started having one problem. When they realized it wasn't what it thought it was, it'd be, or they'd get it fixed, another problem would pop up. And she started getting real sick. And their lives were just like full of illness and bad stuff ever since. And these were apparently two very healthy, middle, late age people. And that's the only encounter I've ever heard of. And I don't have a whole lot of details because every time I try to pull the story up, I get like 3 or 4 different versions of it. So a lot of people still don't know how true it is. But yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be a good thing. They have to be invited in. Now, the ones I see in the hospital are a whole different animal, but they have black eyes. They're kids. Well, actually, it's one boy. And sometimes he'll have a little girl or a little boy with him, or both, that are younger. And he's usually he looks like he's maybe like 13, 14 years old, between 12 and 14. The other 2 look like they're under 10. But I don't see that. out of all the times I've been in and out of the hospital lately, doing tests and stuff, I've only seen him. I haven't seen the other, I call them the little ones, in a while. So I don't know. And as for the white-eyed kids, they're an interesting thing too. I don't think they're bad, but I don't think they're good either. The one I had an encounter with really creeped me out and told me I'd never see it again. And I haven't. So, because that's the only one that acknowledged me. I don't think the black-eyed boy, I don't think he really knows I see him. Because I've actually tried to follow him around in the hospital trying to get a picture of him. So, yeah. Any other questions? Well, you be safe out there, Andrew, with all those eggs. That'll be one big omelet if you... Last squid lobster I ate was 20 years ago in St. Catharines, Ontario. Ooh, probably was a good lobster. It's been a while. For me, a long time. I like seafood, but when I had a bad batch of sushi once, and this was actually in Japan, and it almost killed me. And I still eat seafood, but I'm a little more picky now about what I eat. But yeah, I mean, lobster sounds good. I hope AK doesn't come in here and say he's cooking a lobster. I don't even know if he's grilling tonight. Depends on what the weather is down there, out there in Alaska. They were getting snow at one point. I don't know if they still are. Do something real quick. Okay. But yeah, I was going to do another one, just a regular one, if everybody wants me to. I still have plenty of time, so I may do another upload. Let me see what I got on the dock here. Okay. So if you're up for another one, I can do a short one. More than happy to. That's what this time is for anyways, to do uploads. Do past uploads of her. Let's do an older one. Let's see. Since we're in that Halloween spirit. And then next week I think I'm going to try to find last year's Halloween videos. She did 7 days of Halloween last year. I think she's got one coming Monday for the 7 days this year, but I'm not sure. So, but I do know she has an upload coming Monday morning at 11 a.m. So keep your eyes peeled. She hasn't downloaded it yet. So as soon as she does that, I'll make sure you guys see it. Okay, let's see what else we got. I hope everybody, again, is having a wonderful night. Let's go back a little farther than that. Do one of the demon ones or something. You guys want a demon one? Let's see if I can find a demon one. 1, 2, 3. I want to go back to 3 at least. I know there's one in the 3. Where is it at? We've done all the listener encounters. And please go back to her library and watch some of these past videos. She's also got some missing person ones and, unsolved cases that are really good. I might start showing those later down the road. Yeah, hold on. Here we go. You guys want to do 5 strange, creepy cases of demonic possession? Let's do that one. Or this was the. I know there's a. Let's do part 1. Let's do demonic possession part 1, the basics, and then next week after the Halloween one, I'll do the part 2. So let's do that. Yep. Don't start yet, Gemma. Now, this is an older video. It's from 3 years ago. Let's get it logged in here. Let me present it. Here we go. Let me make sure everything is good. Make sure if you can't hear it, let me know so I make sure I can adjust the sound. And then, but I think this one's got good sound, so we should be good. And here we go.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be discussing signs of demonic entities and demonic possession. As promised, I've been promising you guys a series on demonic possession that I said would be coming out in the fall or the winter, and now just seemed like the perfect time. Without further ado, and as I like to always do, let's just jump right in. As many of us in this community know, any encounter with the paranormal can be life-altering, devastating even, depending on the experience and the entity that's encountered. I want to talk to you guys today.
You might have to adjust your sound. I've got it as loud as it goes, so you might have to turn it up a tad bit.
I decided
some of our later ones
now,
have some
not
sound.
just because Halloween and Samhain, but I think it's important to know what we're looking for, and also when we come across entities that are demonic or evil in nature, what exactly are we looking at? There are plenty of ways to protect yourself if you know what you're doing, and plenty of things you should be aware of, and even that you should stay away from if you don't. While I always aim for my videos to be informative, I especially went out of my way with this one because so many of you have come to me when experiencing something like this and asking for help. I would like to help you before you have to reach out to me or anyone else for that matter with a problem as huge and devastating to everything and everyone around it as a demonic force or entity. Sometimes there are things out of and beyond our control that cause us to have demonic attachments, but many times, as I said before, it's simply not knowing. Being naive and ignorant makes you especially susceptible to these creatures of hell. They are abominations, and above all else, they hate humans. But let's start at the beginning. At first, the signs of a demonic encounter may be so subtle you don't even notice them at all. While many of us in this community are in tune with our instincts and any energy shifts that turn down to the negative, many of us aren't. This could be a problem when dealing with the demonic. Many people have the tendency to rationalize what they're seeing, hearing, feeling, and or experiencing. This is the absolute worst thing you can possibly do. If it feels or just seems wrong, it is. Guaranteed, that's it. We all have a natural spiritual instinct that tells us when something just isn't right in the air or energy around us. Never, ever dismiss these feelings. Never try to explain them away. Never try to rationalize them, and never ignore them. We were given them for a real reason, and ignoring it can mean the difference between life and death in some cases. So, always trust your instincts, and actually, believe it or not, rationalizing is actually the very last thing you should do ever in situations like this. Honor your instincts if something feels wrong, and do everything you can to avoid whatever it is that's sending off this vibe. Again, there's sometimes when we can't help it, but we're going to get to that a little bit later on in the video. If going into a new place or accepting an invitation to go somewhere unknown with people you aren't familiar with makes you uncomfortable, then you should always avoid it. Granted, not everything has to do with demons, but bear with me here as that's specifically what we're here to discuss today. Specific warning signs include, but aren't limited to, feelings of dread out of nowhere, clammy hands when usually they aren't, and a quickening of your heart rate all of a sudden. These are all signs that a demonic or negative entity could be near you. Yes, they're all signs of other things too, but let's focus on what we're talking about. Many people can also sense when they're in the presence of something dark and evil. Again, it's just ingrained intuition. Our primal selves coming to the surface and warning us that something just isn't right. If you ever sense the presence of this dark energy, leave where you are and leave immediately. It's best not to stop and weigh the consequences or again to rationalize the feelings. Feeling like someone is watching you when there's nobody else around, especially in the dark. Heightened sense of awareness all of a sudden for seemingly no reason. Trying to hear even the smallest of sounds and doing things like holding your breath in order to do so. And the energy you are sensing somehow seems incredibly powerful, as though it's a tangible thing you could reach out and touch. Foul odors are another sign of a demonic presence. Unexplained, horrific odors overwhelm your senses and invade your home or personal space. The most common odors associated with demonic entities are sulfur and rotting meat. The smell will come on quickly and leave just as fast, almost like it's gone before you even know it hit you. Again, this is another way in which these demonic entities get you to second guess yourself. Obviously, you should check for any and all other causes for all of the above mentioned signs, but specifically this one, as there's so many other things that could create smells like this. Admittedly, though, if you ask anyone who has ever encountered these odors when dealing with a demon, they would beg to differ with me on that point because they will tell you there is nothing at all like it. It's enough to make you second guess yourself or for someone else to tell you you may be losing your mind, which I might add is exactly what the demon or demons would be looking to have people start thinking about you. Now, some people may say that some of these warning signs I'm giving you are simply the signs of spirit in general and that I may be a little bit off. What I would say to them was keep in mind of the context of what I'm trying to warn you about here. Many people experience many different things when in the presence of any spirit. For example, when I channel, my nose, face, and the back of my neck itch uncontrollably, and a lot of the times my ears will turn bright red and start burning. Let's keep it in line with the demonic, though, because a lot of the common signs I
And her
mentioned here
face
today
and
are
her
also
ears
signs
turned
of
real
demonic
red.
entities as well as regular spirits. So it's better to know than to not know, right? To know if you don't fully know what you're doing or what you're dealing with, that you could be encountering one or the other. So please be sure and think of everything you're experiencing, the full picture, all of your senses combined, because they will all be heightened more so with negative energies and the demonic. When demons are present, humans will often have physical reactions they can't control and that there's no other reason for. Some examples are hairs on your body standing on end, chills up and down your spine or in other places of your body. These are reactions to the electromagnetic energy of spirit, good or bad. Another physical response to the presence of evil that isn't present when dealing with good or benign spirits is a sudden and overwhelming feeling of nausea or even actual vomiting. In the cases of extremely sensitive intuitives, it isn't unusual to be stricken with a sudden actual illness. Both reactions will normally disappear very soon after you leave the presence of the demon or where it is residing. Here are some signs of demonic presences in your homes: unexplained knocking noises, distant knocking sounds, specifically in threes, as this is called Trinity mocking. These sounds can't be attributed to HVAC systems, air conditioners, heating systems, settling pipes, etc., etc., etc. They're a real sign of demonic infestation. I'm talking about what a lot of skeptics and people trying to rationalize what they're hearing call house noises. No. Houses are inanimate objects and don't make noises. Yeah, there may be some creaks in the stairs and bangs in the pipes, but something is always the cause of such noises. It's never just the house settling. These distinct knocking sounds, which again usually sound quite distant, even if they also seem to be coming from right next to you, should immediately alert you to a possible demonic presence in your home. More often than not, this knocking will occur from 12 midnight to 3 or 4 a.m., with the loudest and most likely combined with other signs, possibly all of the signs taking place between 3 and 4 a.m. A disembodied growling sound should definitely make you take notice as to what's going on around you, especially if it's threatening or menacing. I'm not talking about a growl any kind of domestic animal makes, and if it were to be a wild animal, why would it be in your home in the first place? Also, these growls are usually guttural and low, primal, and just give off the sense of evil and something not of this world. Many people report the sound vibrates literally in their chest and in their bodies. Your first reaction to this audible sign may be denial, but chances are terror will almost immediately grip you, and you will start to realize the likely source of the sound. Unless you're seeking out entities for some sort of paranormal investigation or research, and it's never a good idea if you don't completely and 100% know what you're doing, encounters with demons almost always occur simply by chance. They're unwanted and unexpected, and again, unless you're actively seeking out a demon. In that case, well, good luck to you. But for those of us who want to try and avoid these experiences at all costs, pay close attention. This is where I talk to you about how sometimes it's completely not your fault. Many people, believe it or not, do practice Satan worship and want and try to summon one demonic entity or another for whatever their purposes may be at the time. There have been more reports than I could even begin to count, let alone name, where some poor soul unknowingly moves into a house thinking they've scored their absolute dream home in the deal of a lifetime, only to realize later on that someone had summoned a demon there in the past. Someone who was there before them intentionally opened up a portal and invited a demon inside the home. There's usually no immediate way to tell if the home you're in has a portal or if it's still open or not. This is where things get even scarier, though.
You may not even be able to tell there were any rituals done there before either. I mean, it isn't completely out of a horror movie where there is blood all over the walls or the carcasses of sacrificed animals laying all over the place. It's much more subtle than that. It's actually meant to be much more subtle than that. Once a demon is invited to take up residence in a home, it can trap any other spirits there, and also it takes its power very seriously. It also figures this is going to be its home from then on out and takes that very seriously as well. Therefore, why would it want you to be able to see what has allowed it to come through? Oftentimes, the symbols are hidden and only detectable under a black light. You could look right at it and not even see it. It would literally be invisible, and this is usually how the symbols are drawn. There could be symbols written in blood that have been cleaned up and could only be uncovered by someone with knowledge of how to use luminol or some expert forensic person. You could also find yourself inside a home with a vortex or energy portal. These things aren't exclusive to demons either, and all types of ghosts, spirits, demonic entities, and even negative energies could be passing to and fro using the portals. Normally, unlike with demons most of the time, moving away from the place with the vortex or portal will usually stop all these other issues. For you, anyway. Good luck if you own the home with selling it. If you decide to be honest, that is. And then again, many people wouldn't believe you if you tried to tell them, so never mind. And what would be the point? Now, as we all probably know, a demon's mission is to torture our very souls. Usually, it's not picky at all about which humans it tortures and latches onto either. I've gotten a lot of messages about this, mainly from well-meaning Christian friends warning me that I was opening some sort of portal or inviting in something demonic or negative just by using oracle cards. I was even accused of necromancy. I guess I could be doing this if I didn't know what I was doing. Even tarot cards, when not used correctly, could be just as dangerous as we all can probably agree a Ouija board is. Misuse of divination tools is a very frequently reported reason for demonic infestations, possessions, and or attachments. If you are spiritually unaware and uneducated in whatever method you are trying to channel with, there are so many traps you could innocently fall into. Conducting seances, channeling, and of course, the aforementioned Ouija boards are very common in calling forth demonic entities unintentionally. Demonic entities and demonic forces are hard enough to get rid of, and so much more so when you've invited it, even if you've done so completely by accident. There are rules for these types of things a regular person out looking for nothing more than a good scare wouldn't necessarily be aware of. Literally, any type of divination could be misused by demons and their hell minions. They literally roam around just searching for people inexperienced in the ways of self protection. Whatever divination tool you choose to experiment with, you could be lulled into a false sense of security. Listen, how many tales have you heard about some poor unfortunate soul who was playing Ouija at a party or something, who thought they were contacting their deceased dear old granny and continued contacting grandma for months until one day the allegedly kind old deceased grandmother turned on the person, perhaps even possessing them full blown. Here's the thing. While most of these stories on the internet are nonsense and are just people taking advantage of an opportunity for a good scare and perhaps a lot of views, there is some truth to this. It comes from somewhere real. Demons can take on any and all forms, and most of the time the flaws they must have in order to impersonate a human are so small and or insignificant, possibly even hidden from our view, that we don't notice what we're dealing with. Sometimes this boils down to pure grief too, which is a real shame. Someone wanting so badly and being so desperate to believe that they're back in touch with the deceased loved one will normally refuse to acknowledge the little things that seem off with this alleged deceased spirit and or entity. Never, ever, ever, I reiterate, never, ever allow yourself to be lulled into a false sense of security, and stay away from any and all divination devices and or tools unless you definitely know what you're doing. Absolutely. Maybe try consulting an expert to do things for you, or try consulting one to teach you and take the time to learn well and learn everything there is to know how to do it yourself. Better to take the long road than end up possessed or tortured by a demon or several. These things should never be rushed. You must do the work to establish a strong spiritual core. This can take years for some people, even decades. It all depends how you're connected to all of it and how much is already within you. These things, there's something you can't help either. What someone may be able to learn and master in just 6 months could take a lifetime for someone else. Why take a chance? Either leave it to or take the time to become an expert on such things. If your knowledge isn't extensive and your convictions not so strong, you could seriously and in all reality be looking at a real battle for your soul as you leave yourself open to a spiritual attack. This isn't a joke. So, to review, avoid experimentation with any type of divination tools. Seek the help of a trusted professional or master to help you either make contact or learn how to use the tools and or make contact. You can also become an apprentice to a mentor if you know one willing to help you and who's taking on apprentices at the time. Make sure it's someone who you trust though, because again, how do you know someone isn't just trying to trick you out of your soul? The devil has workers all over, just as Jesus and the light does. The Prince of Darkness and his minions have mastered the guise of human charm and most likely could easily gain your trust if your spiritual core is weak. In these days, a lot of people have a weak spiritual core. Most people do. It's the people that work on it every single day that don't. Now let's talk about how demonic encounters could lead to possessions. How would you know what you were looking at if you encountered someone who was demon possessed? Well, the first telltale sign would be a great hatred toward you and everyone else. Not anger or even rage, but absolute hatred. The irrational voicing of this hatred is common too. The person will literally hiss. They will go off on tirades completely out of the blue and totally unprovoked. They could at other times too appear completely normal and go about their daily lives as if they aren't possessed. However, the demon is never far below the surface, and its irrational and vehement hatred will always shine through throughout the day in spurts. Foul language, cursing where there was none or very little before, and when completely inappropriate and unwarranted, is a common sign in the beginning of any demonic possession. Crude language, too, like very crude, sexually explicit, is just as common. The possessed person will start to speak in what sounds like multiple voices all at once. Another very common sign is when the person randomly starts speaking foreign language that are either completely unknown to them or that they've heard a bit of but never spoke a word of or learned before. Random and violent attacks on anyone near them happens all the time too. Attacks aim to kill, maim, or at the very least severely injure, oftentimes with weapons of some sort. Knives are the most common weapon as demons revel in blood, and knives are very adept at drawing blood from us humans. Now, earlier I mentioned that oftentimes the person doesn't even know that they're inviting a demon into their life and opening themselves up to demonic possession. This doesn't mean, though, that an invitation wasn't given just because it was given accidentally. It can be given very easily, even if very innocently. Demonic possession often will begin with some kind of illness. Usually high fevers, which could cause hallucinations, are a favorite way for a demon to afflict a human. Because think about it. When you have a high fever, you could hallucinate, and then you can't understand you're being possessed. If anyone around you should happen to notice and mention it or even try to help, the possessed could attack and even kill them unknowingly when in this feverish state. Unless you're somehow able to break the curse or possession fairly early on, your physical health will begin to noticeably spiral out of control and quite quickly, with your mental faculties following very close behind on its heels. The physical always comes first, though, and oftentimes doctors will be unable to diagnose or will misdiagnose whatever the demon ails you with. I think that's because the demon is able to change the symptoms very quickly, like too quick for modern medicine to ever figure anything out. Not that many doctors, specialists, or scientists will diagnose you with demonic possession, right? After getting physically ill enough that most likely you can't eat or drink anything and are most likely bedridden, but not always, the demon will then proceed to attack you spiritually and mentally. They'll torture you nonstop, literally 24/7, so you can't sleep either. Total loss of reality and the inability to decipher what's real and what's pure illusion sent by the demon will progress as each day passes. And make no mistake, this all happens very quickly, with everything I've just stated happening in 1 week to a month at the longest. Remember, they've been latching onto and subtly possessing a person for weeks or even months at this point. Bouts of severe depression, possibly considering taking your own life, moments of clarity where you have a few seconds to try and figure out what the hell is going on, and then the nonstop crying, uncontrollable panic will come before the demon takes over and starts the torturous chain again and again. These mere seconds or moments of clarity are so important for the demon to maintain, so you know what's going on and you think you're going to die, or in most cases, so you know you're going to die. And you most definitely could. If you don't have a very strong support system around you and people with a ton of faith and or spiritual elevation, that's most likely what's going to happen to you. Demons prey on the weak and vulnerable. You don't have to be physically weak either. You can be mentally or spiritually weak to begin with because the entity will break you down in all of the possible ways that it can. There has to be some form of weakness to begin with, though, which is why everything I said up to this point about not messing with things you don't understand is so incredibly important. Normally, you'll die of some human thing too, like dehydration or malnutrition. Some people, and mind you, I don't mean all when I say this, so don't think of the most famous cases you've heard of that have been constantly glorified in the news and in Hollywood, but in some cases, you'll end up doing life in prison. The demon will only leave you once it has achieved its goal of absolutely destroying you. Normally, that means killing you, but sometimes if it causes a person to kill, it will depart when the person gets arrested and goes to prison for life or is possibly sentenced to death. After all, even a demon knows not to stick around for that mess, right? There's always the option of an exorcism performed by the church, but even that isn't as simple as I think it should be. But what do I know? Now, we'll talk about how to fight against demonic possession and exorcisms and more in the next videos in this series. I won't leave you all hanging for long, though, I promise, so don't worry. My research is always extensive, and I can't wait to share it with you all and see what you think. And that, my friends, is all for today. Please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed spending this time with me. My likes are getting down again, folks. There are nothing compared to my views, and I don't understand it. So please be sure and like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you are subscribed, please go on and hit the notification bell to make sure you are notified. A lot of you are saying you're not getting your notifications. Spread the love by sharing this video. I just want to take a minute to welcome the so many new subscribers that I've gained over the past couple of weeks. That is so incredibly awesome. And also, of course, all of my tribe and everyone who's been here with me from the very beginning and moving right on through. I love and appreciate every single one of you so much. Thank you so much for all of the donations, all of the gifts. I mean, the kindness has been overwhelming and just overwhelming, incredible. Be sure and check out the description box for some links. Justice for Caleb Smith, always, it's the original 2-hour interview with Caleb's mom, our fellow tribe member.
I'm going to cut it off here because this is all
there
old
are
stuff.
some updates in the case that
I don't even know what ever
share
happened
with
with
us,
all
but
that. I don't
we
think
have to
she
wait
does
until
either.
everything's
I'll
kind of put
ask
together.
her. Let me shut her down here. She's still gabbing. There we go. Yeah, we joke about it all the time, Cindy, about him driving, but it should be good. We were supposed to go Wednesday, and he kind of backed out. He's been a little unsteady on his legs, so I had to dig out the walker, and he refuses to use the walker, which I get. You know, he's a proud man. And then we were supposed to go today, and he just wasn't up to it, and I wasn't going to push. He just kind of fiddled around because I got to plan. What do you want to do? And he kind of put it on me. But it's all right. So we're going to try again tomorrow. I'm more worried about getting him down to see his sister. I mean, she's got dementia, so those visits are very short as it is. But he needs to see her. Well, but anybody like those two? The demon one it's a good introductory, kind of gets you the basics. The demons are a messed up thing, man. You know, mind counter. And I had a feeling when I was young that I would experience it because I always had seen stuff anyways, and I've seen some creepy stuff. I know I wouldn't ride with my mom at least a couple of years. My mom the last couple of years. Too scary. Actually, he was actually a pretty good driver when he stopped. I think a lot of it was his memory's kind of going, so he gets a little fuggled sometimes, as one might say. And he kind of was overcautious, so he would be that it wasn't that he was going really slow. It's just he would go the speed limit. But I think I let him call it. Caleb was a person I got. Hey, how you doing? Okay, I just said your name not too long ago. How you doing? Let me answer Sassy's question. Caleb was a thing they did. Actually, let me show you the video if I can find it. Let me pull that back up real quick. He was missing, and everybody was trying to find him. I think he killed or they found his body. I don't remember all of it. It was just a crazy. They were really trying to help this lady out. Let me show you the video. I'll show you. I won't play the video, but I'll show it. And if you want to go back and watch it, it's old. It's like 3 years old. It's when she was still with Steve Stockton. Hold on. And I'll at least show you the video. But it's been a while. But yeah, it was, they were really trying to help this lady out. Let me go. It's way back. Well, 3 years old. So, I mean, she was still pushing it then. So let me see if I can find it. And that way you can, if you want to go back and watch it, you can. Okay. Where is it? I think some of that is on Steve's channel. I'm not sure. Let's see if I can find it. It might be in the lives. Let me see if I can find it here. See, she removed some of this stuff, and I don't know what she all removed. She moved a lot of the old stuff. I know it's way down here. Start from the bottom, work my way up. So how you doing? Really, what you making tonight? Or are you just kind of chilling on a Alaskan afternoon, evening? One second. Where is that? I thought she did a video. I know they talked. Here it is right here. Hold on. There's the one. Wait, that's not the right one, I don't think. See, they thought 2 murders were offings, I should say, were connected. But I want to find the original. Where is the original? Wait. Okay, 1 second. It's below freezing, so only grilled some steaks and potatoes. Oh, I bet it's cold. Did you guys get a lot of snow? I know it was snowing there. Or is it just freezing cold right now? Where is that? Okay, I guess she just did I think the other one is maybe on Steve Stockton's channel if he still has it up. I'm trying to find it. I know they did a couple lives too about it. So here, let me see. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. I keep saying okay. Hold on. I just want to make sure I get the right one. Okay, this is the only one. Let me just put this up so you know what to look for. I don't want to do that. You goober. Nope. Clicking the wrong buttons. Still clicking the wrong buttons. There we go. Trying to rush. Yeah, they believe that Caleb Smith and Kate Easley. Can you see that okay? I'm in the way. Let me move myself to the side. Yeah, right here. Caleb and Kensley, they think they were connected. You have to go look back and watch it. Let me see if I can show you what the video looks like. But yeah, it was a real crazy. He was found at a gas station, or he was last seen at a gas station. I have to go back and watch it myself. But it kind of gives you an idea. It was something they were doing back about 3 years ago, trying to help this lady out. And I kind of came to an end. And a lot of things were changing at that time. So, but yeah, I'm going to have to ask her if she ever heard any more about that. And if she can give an update. I don't know if she'd be able to give an update. But yeah, that's what that was about. Actually, if you want me to, maybe one of the weekends I do Gemma's replays, I can always I can play that video. Yeah, because I am going to play some of those missing persons and cold case files that she did, and some of the where they go 9411s and all that. She did a few of those videos. A lot of them are just crazy offings and stuff like that. They were good. They were good videos. She was starting off as kind of like true crime, and then she slowly went into the paranormal. Before that, she did stuff about addiction. So those who didn't know, I think a lot of the ones she did about addiction, they got rid of. She had to take off. She was doing that. She was actually getting good views on those because she was helping a lot of people, giving out a lot of information to help people. YouTube didn't like it and suggested that she changed topics. So, yeah, it was like 72 here today. I think we got up to almost 72 today here too, AK. It was nice here today. It's supposed to be like 78 tomorrow and 80 Monday. I'd rather have snow, to be honest. Dang, allergy medicine dries me out. So you're freezing your butt off, huh? I don't know. I'd rather have the snow, Cindy. I like sledding. If my body wasn't such a twitchy mess, I'd go skiing again. Actually, I want to. They're putting a bobsled course in. I want to go bobsledding. I love the cold, and I love the snow. It's just my body anymore doesn't like it. And I don't care. I'm still going to go out and play in it. I'm going to Vegas next month. Can't wait to feel the sun. Watch it rain the whole time. I shouldn't say. Yeah, you should have good weather. As long as nothing crazy happens, you got to remember next month is voting. and Vegas is one of those flippy states. Yes, she did a lot of sassy. She did a lot of true crime stuff. If you, like I said, you go back and look at her library and go all the way to the bottom and work your way up, you'll see she did stuff about serial killers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good stuff. She had to, I don't think she kept it all up. She kind of shortened it, like I said. I think some of it was when she was just starting out, so I think she was a little embarrassed too, which is understandable. Jinxed him, didn't you? I hope not. I hope he goes and he should have good weather. They're pretty much getting over. They're getting a little bit of rain right now, last I looked, but I'm not sure. I know they got snow up in their mountains. I think even down in New Mexico even got a little bit of freezing weather. So yeah, stay in the valley when you go. Vegas, you're inside most of the time gambling anyway, so checking out the shows. I don't know if I'd check out the shows or just gamble. And I only gamble when I feel I'm in the mood because I don't. Yeah, good weather and good luck, no doubt. I don't think I've ever been to Vegas. I've been to Atlantic City. Good night, Sassy. You have a wonderful night, too. Have a good Sunday. Have a good beginning of the week. Like I said, she is got an upload coming out Monday at 11 a.m. She gave the title, but she doesn't have an upload, so I can't put it out, and I can't remember the title. I should have asked her. But yeah, so if you can make it Monday at 11 or watch the replay, go ahead. She's not doing live. It's just a premiere, so. And then we'll be here Tuesday at 1 o'clock for Tuesday Talk. I believe she will be here this time for that. Then I should be here Wednesday. I should be here this Wednesday for spooky time. I got some good ghost stories to tell now that we're getting closer to Halloween. And then I don't know if Pixie's streaming Thursday or not. As you know, she didn't stream. she's been sick, so we'll have to wait and see there. And then we will be here Friday at 7:15, Gemma and me, for oracles. So please join us, Sassy. You have a wonderful week and a wonderful Sunday. Sorry. Dragons, you're looking cool. And I would get some glasses like yours and when I'm in Vegas. Yeah, I'm going to get new ones too. These things, they give me a headache. My eyes changed. So I went to the eye doctor for the week and he was like, your eyes changed. Actually, for better. It's just now I have to wear bifocals. So now I got to change everything. And these are like safety, the whole works. So, and these cost me a pretty penny a few years back. And now I'm going to have to stop. Well, they also had nickel in them. I can only wear them for so long because I'm allergic to nickel, but I like them so much I got them anyways. So I only wear them when I'm doing this up there, shooting the bang bang or working in the yard because they are safety. But yeah, you should have a good time in Vegas. Just be careful. There's a lot of scams there, so keep your eyes peeled. From what I've been told, I know it was pretty bad in Atlantic City, but things have changed there too. Have any of you all tried VR? Like, I tried the VR once, and I couldn't do it because of my Tourette's. And man, I got off. I was like, it was not a good experience. So you really have to get used to them. It does take time to get used to them. Hey, Jason, how you doing tonight? I hope you are well and having a good weekend so far. Just missed 2 uploads unless you watched them in the background, which is fine. We'll probably go for another. It's 1:30. I'll take it to 2. I was going to cut it off at 1:30, but I'm going to go to 2 since some people are coming in and saying hi. I didn't want to book on Cindy. Last time she came in, I was just leaving. So. Plus, I wasn't here Wednesday night, but I got to get up and we'll probably leave here about 10 or 11 to go to Chili Coffee. If he gets up and is in the mood to go, get him out of his house for a while. Nothing worse than a poor old 91-year-old man being trapped in the house. I don't blame him. He's getting stir crazy. I kind of need to get out too. So, but I hope you're well, Jason. Just making sure I'm still not got anything running in the background. There we go. I think everything's off now. Dad must be busy or sleeping. I didn't call her out 3 times. I think she was worried about me Friday night. Yeah, I was really kind of concerned about Pop. I had a bad feeling. That's why I kept disappearing. I kept checking on him. He had a wobbly day yesterday, and it was like, oh my gosh, dude. And then he turned around and he ended up falling anyway. Last time I got here, you just ended. 7 minutes early. Is that what happened? Did you watch? No, I did not. Did you watch SpaceX catch Starship last week? No, I did not. Are they going to rescue those 2 guys, those 2 people up there floating around? Those poor people up there. I'd be kind of upset people. No, I did not, and I wish I had. I sometimes catch them, and sometimes I don't. I always forget to check on when they are and when all that stuff is scheduled. Hey, AK, did you have some pretty good auroras last week? I bet those northern lights were amazing up there. But then you should get them pretty much all the time. They would just be extra brighter than usual with the X flares. And can you see the comet? AK at dusk, just as the sun's going down. If you got a good view of the horizon, just as the sun starts going down or just as it goes down, you should be able to see that comment. I think it'll be gone here soon. So if you haven't seen it, tomorrow night, try to see if you can catch it. I can't get a picture of it because unless I go drive forever away from the city to get a good shot, because every picture I took, you can't even see it. It kind of bummed me out. Oh, has it been cloudy there? See, that was my problem. The first 3 days of the comet it was so cloudy. I couldn't see even you were supposed to be able to see it when the sun was setting on the other side of the sun, and you could see it, but you had to block out the sun to see it. Oh, did you? That's nice of you. That's good. That was nice of you. Yes, it's his birthday today. Yes, your memes are always great for a birthday surprise. Yeah, it sucks when it's cloudy and there's all kinds of good stuff going on in space, and it's horrible here. Actually, I always thought where I was living, I get a little bit of light pollution. But the problem is I kind of live like Ohio is basically a valley, and I kind of live in that mid-range. And you have to drive around to find good spots to see certain things. It takes forever. Hey, Mike, you going to come in before I leave, which is in about 20 minutes. I'm glad you made it, though. I hope you're well, and I hope you're having a good weekend. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Now, did you start your new shift already, Mike? Forgive my voice. Yeah, you are kind of late, but that's all right. You're fine. So did you start your new shift, and what are your new shift hours? Probably back to days, right? There's nothing worse than flipping back to night and days. It's just hard on the old soul. Giving everybody time to answer. Yeah, messed up. It's backwards. So what are you working now? Like back to 7 to 3 or something? Or even a more screwed up shift? We had a mid shift that I didn't like either. We had 2 shifts, a 7 to 3 and then a 3 to 2 a.m. I worked both those shifts. And then they would also run a very small group that would run between, I think it's 1 to 8 or 9. And what they did was they would finish up projects that needed to get out a little faster. A lot of that was direct screen printing, not like we made transfers, but they also did direct print. And these guys would come in and help them get caught up. 6 a.m. to 2:30. Oh, that does suck. So basically what I said, 7 to 3. That's what we were. We were 7 to 3. So you're 6 a.m. to 2:30. At least do you get what, a half hour break or an hour break? Or do you get a break at all? I like that. I liked my 3 to 2 shift. I mean, having being off Thursday night and leaving Thursday night and I have to be back until Monday was always so great. But I also liked my 7 to 3 shift because I'd get to work before rush hour, and then I would leave work and I'd be at the beginning of rush hour. So it wasn't never bad unless it snowed, because a couple times half-hour lunch and 1 15-minute break. That's not too bad. We got 2 15-minute breaks and a half-hour lunch, which I didn't mind. A lot of times I never took them anyways. I just kept working. Now the breaks I took. It's nice to be retired. Yeah, I miss working. When they made me stop working, I was an upset puppy for about a year. I finally had gotten into a job that I loved, and that was screen printing. I'd been 15 years in the restaurant business, and I was going almost 14, 15 years in the screen printing business, and I loved it. And when they said, nope, no more, you got to stop, bud. And I was like, no. I was upset. I enjoy my time, but I don't. I'd rather be working. I just drink coffee in my office. You sound like me when I was a restaurant manager. Well, I'd come out at dinner time and work the crowd. But a lot of times during the day, if you worked during the day, you did the lunch rush. And then between lunch and dinner rush, you made sure everybody was doing their job, getting ready for dinner rush. You sat in the office and smoked cigarettes and drank coffee and did paperwork. Yeah, Mike, you're not the only one. I know a lot of people say that now. And I think if my dad could still work, he'd be working too. Pop would still be working if he could. He's still got it, man. Like he's working, he's got a lawnmower out in the garage he's working on. He's got an air compressor in the basement. It will come. Yeah, and you'll be happy. Just make sure you save for it, Mike. Yeah, well, actually, my dad worked way into his retirement because I'm telling you, you got to anymore. It sucks. And that's why you see all these old people working at Walmart and stuff because you got to eat or decide either food or bills for the month. I trained at an academy today. Oh, cool. My Vegas trip will either be delay or speed up my retirement goal by a year or two. Hey, that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Speed it up, slow it down. It's always good to go have fun. Enjoy it. But like I said, just make sure you plan and make sure you got money on the side for that retirement, man. 1 second. Sorry about that. Like I said, the allergy pills, I took 2 before I started tonight, and they're really drying me out. Depends on if you're lucky. But actually, you don't have to be too lucky. Just got to know how to play the cards, play the wheels, play the table. But you got to remember the casino always wins. I teach cadets at a police academy on the weekend. Yeah, I know you do. That's pretty cool, though. On the weekends in the fall. That's awesome, though. Teaching the old boom booms. Yeah, I need to go get some formal training. I've had a little bit of training. I have a few military friends that's taken me out. I'm not a bad shot, even for a guy that has Tourette's and shakes. They're always impressed. They took me bowling 4 years ago, and I was still, I had gotten worse, and they were still trying meds on me and stuff. So some of the meds made me kind of worse. And I went with them bowling one time. And I ended up bowling like a turkey, and they were all freaking out. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe the shaking had something to do with it. Tomorrow, today, 1 p.m. Yeah, you have to work on a Sunday? That really does kind of suck. But at the same time, if you have fun doing it, and, when you love your job, that's what makes it count. I always said, you want to be happy, do the job you want to do. Do a job that makes you happy. I almost had a perfect game on Wii Bowling. You know, I don't play bad on Wii Bowling. I've played that a couple times. But a perfect game, even on there, I mean, I guess you could get a good perfect game if you get it down right. It's only 4 hours. Oh, that's not bad. And if you enjoy it, it's worth it. Plus, you probably get good pay out of it. Don't you? I'm sure you get paid good for it. Put $1 on 13. There you go. Put $1 on 13, AK. I used to play the unlucky numbers all the time. We went to Atlantic City. I took $150 just to gamble on. I came home with about $1,000, about $1,500. But of course, the tax man was there waiting, so he took a little bit of it. So, but I didn't do bad. But I'm a careful gambler. I'm not like I'm a Virgo. That should tell you everything. I'm watching the cards. I'm watching the dealer. All right. I'm not a great 21 player, but man, I like to play roulette. Hit on a machine. It wasn't much, but it was a couple $100. Oh, you always have luck on 13. That's, hey, some people do. Oh, Concord, New Hampshire Police Academy. Oh, cool. So, Mike, I take it you were a cop at one time? You were an officer at one time? I shouldn't say. My Uncle Jim didn't mind being called a cop, so. He was a Chillicothe police officer. No. Okay. You just help train, which is cool. We would say great shot after each strike, but when I needed the last strike, it went not a nice shot, like it was asking me a question and it made me miss. Oh, that's screwed up. That is so screwed up. It was messing with you. So you weren't, Mike. Okay. That's so awesome. You're working with these guys. That's cool. Military service, I take it? I think you said you did do military service, right? I'm certified to train law enforcement. That's what you have to remember. You said that before. Okay, that's right. That's awesome. That is cool. Yeah, now I remember you saying that. So do you go all over or just stay local? Within your state, I should say. Or have you traveled to train? I'm asking questions. You guys usually ask me questions. Now I'm asking questions. I'm being nosy. So far local. Well, that's cool, though. That's cool. I like that. That's awesome. Just at the Concord Academy. That's still cool. Yeah, they just built a real nice police academy here in Columbus. Real nice one. Real decked out. It's huge. It's got everything. From what I understand, it's got everything in there. Oh, you can train civilians too. Oh, that's cool. Can you make good money doing that? Do you advertise doing that? I'm just curious. Not many can afford the ammo. That's true. And it's expensive too, because I went to go get ammo for our pew pew, and it has gone up quite a bit. Yeah, because I'm looking at me some pew pews. He's got one. He's got actually a few, but he's got an old Colt, and to watch him try to cock that sucker anymore. I said, Dad, you couldn't hurt nobody because you couldn't even shoot it. So we got him a nice a nice little. I think what we get him. We got him it's almost like a little Beretta, little 22. Something he can handle and squeeze if he needs to. I'm looking for a host for him now because we have open carry here. God knows he feels like he needs it. He is 91 years old. It's funny because he cracks me up. He'll go to the store with me sometimes. They go, I'll just sit in the car. And I go, you sure? He goes, yeah, I'm okay. I do worry about him, but he's a fighter, and I keep a big old machete in the car, so and he knows it's there. So twice of what he used to be. Yeah, I know. I'll tell you what. My brother has my dad musket. I think it was my dad, or he bought it. He has a musket. I tell you what, shooting that sucker, man, about knocked me on my butt. I know I pain the load. I got a Glock, but we have to use SIGs. Oh, really? Wow. I wonder why. Well, why do you have to use? Is that specific? I'm just curious. Actually, a friend of mine, the friend I haven't talked to for a while, he has a 45. That thing was a snub nose, but man, I tell you what, you could blow a hole. Yeah, I don't know what his Colt is. It's old. He kept it clean. It's functional. It's just, it's got a tight trigger. He just doesn't have the strength in his hand to cock it or to shoot it, pull the trigger. I sat and watched him one day, bless his heart. So we went and got him a good one. Because the SIGs are issued. Oh, it's what they issued out. Okay. That makes sense. Deputy issued deputy weapon. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You want to train them with the guns they're going to use. Mine has a pearl handle. Ooh. Nice. Yeah, Greg's got, I don't remember what his was or not. Person, I'm a close-up guy. I just assume have a sawed-off shotgun. I didn't think you were. You said you weren't. Just an instructor. Yeah, I understood that. That's all right. That's cool. You're an instructor. That's cool as crap. Now, do you have military cert? Have you done military service? I'm just curious. I know. Oh, yeah, you have, haven't you? I know Black Dragon. He's a Marine. Who else? And then there's Blue and a couple other ones that come in here. I think Slow Mo. I think he was on those too. But he's overseas, so over the big pond. Okay, folks, I'm going to get ready to call it a night. I got to get up in the morning. I appreciate you folks hanging with me. Please have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful Sunday. You have a good day tomorrow, Mike, instructing. And Cindy, you have a wonderful night too. And have a good Sunday, please. Have fun with the little one. Sassy, if you're still around, or you said good night, but I hope you have a good Sunday. AK, be safe up there in the old Alaskan wilderness. Have a good one. Stay warm, sir. Latro, wherever you disappeared to, I hope you have a wonderful weekend too. Anybody else that was listening in the background, it was great to have you. Please have a wonderful night. If you watched the replay, enjoyed. There were 2 good videos. The first one was 2 years old, and the second one was 3 years old. Nightmare, there he is. You were hiding in the background or just roaming around? A little bit of both. Nice to see you, Nightmare. You have a good one, sir. And I hope to see you all on the flip side. Yeah, that's what I figured. And that's all right, Mike. I get it. A lot of people, I gab a lot, but I'm still a pretty private person. So, there's a lot of things people don't know about. So it's perfectly fine, Mike. Yes, everybody have a blessed one. Much love to you once again. Thank you all so much for hanging with me tonight. And those who watch the replays, please enjoy them. Just, if you can slide a few bucks for donations, it will help Gemma and the channel so much. Watch them shorts. Gemma will be here. She has a premiere Monday at 11. And I'm not sure what the title was because she said it, but she rattled off a bunch of other ones, so I kind of lost. But she does have one, I believe, premiering Sunday. We will be here for Tuesday Talk at 1 p.m. ET time on Tuesday. I should be here Wednesday night. I'm not sure about Pixie. She hasn't been feeling well, so I'm not sure if she'll be here Thursday or not. But we will be here Friday at 7:15, Gemma and I, for Oracles. Things are changing, so keep an eye out for community channel and Facebook for the changes that are coming up. Folks, have a wonderful one. Please have a great